Back on Gertie Room. Back again, the Saturday mood. Well, here we are for the May Bank Holiday weekend, Saturday. And it's just about lunchtime, so I thought I'd do a reaction to this. So, Prince Barry tells CBBCs he wants something or other with the Boyle family. No one cares, shut up. Right, let's go. Come on, what's happened now, Mona Lisa?
Everything. Because in beginning of 2020,
right,
I was scored the highest as far as risk was concerned. And then
I can imagine you were scoring quite high in 20. Yes, I don't know what you're on about, but my idea of what you're scoring, very high.
Overnight,
Let's go.
I was reduced to the lowest without actually going through the risk management board. So one does question how that is even
marry in haste, repent at leisure. There you go, carry on.
Possible, and also the motive behind that at the time.
No one cares.
And that was in 2020. And as hard as it is to appreciate or understand why the decision was made the way that it was in 2020, the hardest thing for me has been the fix of that decision for the last 5 years.
Right.
The fact that I still haven't had a risk management board assessment done for me over the last 5 years. Everybody else within this group of people get it at the minimum once a year. So I
don't like that vocal fry he's doing when he speaks up like that. He really is a proper plum. He literally is a plum with plums on. He's not even a plum tree covered in plums. He's a bloody orchard of plum trees covered in plums, this one. He really is probably the biggest melty plum I've ever had the thingy bob to have to listen to his nonsense. I'm only doing it because, like, if it wasn't for Channel, I wouldn't, suffer fools gladly and all that. The guy is a melt. I don't know what you're on about. You and your horrible little missus and your new global one government world order bleedy blah. Open borders. Our whole country needs a bleeding risk management. Everybody's at risk when they go outside their front door. Everyone's got a I can't say the word because I'm not allowed to. That word on us. We all have, metaphorically and actually. Okay, what makes you so different? Oh, because you were born a Boyle and you can't help being a Boyle, you've got to apologise for it. You live in a gated community surrounded in security guards. Most people are just walking in the park. What about all the girls that live up in any city or any town across Britain? Hundreds of thousands of them. The true number will never really be known. Hundreds of thousands of girls across the country outraged. People beheaded in the streets. And you're moaning about you? Shush. You've got more than enough security. If you want any more security, take yourself up Broadmoor and let them lock you in there where you'll be more than bloody secure. And what's more, we'll be blimmin' free of having to listen to your constant petulant whining that no one gives a fig about. And another thing while I'm on it, you made your bed, young man, or a middle-aged man. You lie in it.
And I would not have taken this far,
right,
if I didn't have compelling evidence.
Yes.
Of facts.
Right, of facts. That somebody told your lawyer probably. That
reveal.
Yes.
Why the decision was made.
Right.
And I'm sitting here today talking to you where, we've lost the appeal, but the other side have won in keeping me unsafe. So.
Oh my God, this man child. He's so delusional. Do you really think there's people that sit there, hubble, bubble, toil and trouble? What can we do to annoy the Barry Barrington, Baldy Bazza? Oh, I know what we do, shall we? We'll have a go at the judge and make him lose it. Yeah, we will, we'll do that, because you're like nothing to them. You don't exist to them. You think you do because I think you're histrionic narcissist, personally. I think you're mental. And I think Mrs. is a psychopath with grandiose narcissism, high rising on her horizon, or whatever it is she's got going on, or sociopath. Because sociopath knows something's wrong but does it anyway, and a psychopath doesn't know it's wrong to start with. Yeah, probably psychopath. Or maybe she's a sociopath. It's hard to tell. Probably she's a something-a-path, isn't she? She could take a path as well and path off.
Again, there's a lot of question marks that a lot of people will have.
Well, no,
I have all of the truth. I have all of the knowledge.
No, who's these lot of people? Don't bring me into it. I'm a people, right? I've got no questions. I don't care. I literally do not care. Care not. No cares. All out of cares. I could say, I won't say that word. Fresh out of flips. You know, you're going to get on your private plane. You flew down to Vegas. Oh, this was so important you couldn't even be bothered to be there for the end of the appeal. To find out the findings of the findings of the findings of the findings judge. What found? Something that no one cares about. Just wasting taxpayers' money. And now you've got to pay $750,000. Good. It should be more than that.
Now, throughout the legal process,
Shut up.
I've uncovered my worst fears.
Yes.
And to now know today, based on this judgment, that there was no legal framework.
I'm not being funny, you're married to your worst fears. You wake up every morning, turn over, and your worst fears are on the pillow next to you, darling. It's only you that can't see it. Talk about rose-tinted glasses. We've seen her in every sort of lighting, and none of them are good. And you see her real and raw, and you still think that, oh, I just can't with this man. Is he an idiot? Is he a lunatic? Is he on the spectrum? Is he special? I've always said it. I think Charles should get onto Eton and ask for his damn money back, because they're supposed to churn out educated young men of the aristocracy, you see, darlings. Yeah? And then, didn't he go to officer training school? Supposed to be an officer and a gentleman. We ain't seen none of that neither now, have we? No, he's a right cowardly little cowardly custard that sits there in the corner, oh, masticating, and I said masticating, yeah? Getting all upset and weepy in case somebody says something nasty about the Marklet or something. It's all in his head. He's surrounded by security. So was Salman Rushdie. Was surrounded by security for all his life. Did they ever get him? No! Because he employed security. It's like saying, oh, I've got an umbrella, but I think I'm going to get wet and I need a gazebo. They should pay for a gazebo. I've got a perfectly functioning umbrella. A golf umbrella. One of the biggest umbrellas, the finest umbrellas you could ever get. Yes, probably got Chelsea Flower Show emblazoned all over it or some such nonsense. Yeah, but no, Barry don't just want a decent umbrella to secure him, stop him from getting wet, the petulant little prig. And I said prig, P-R-I-G. Oh no, he doesn't want that. He wants a gazebo. That's what he wants. He wants people to walk along holding a gazebo above his head in case a little drop of rain falls on him. Bleeding melt. Shut up.
Work that constrains the decisions of this body, RAVC, of which the royal household sit on. And I didn't know that until this legal process in 2021. One of the first things my lawyer said to me was, as disclosure started, or as this process started, she turned around and said, did you know that the royal household sat on RAVC? And my jaw hit the floor.
Well, I want to ask you about that, because the King's private secretary...
Oh, shut up, BBC woman. No one cares about you either. Of course, RAVC would sit on there because the most of what RAVC do is assess, now, correct me if I'm wrong, the threat of security around, like, VPPP people, very important people, which would sort of, you know, off the top of my head, I would have thought of including people like the Queen, the late Queen, her husband, and the immediate heirs to the throne. Not some little grifter that's took his trailer trash piece or whatever it is he's found over to California and bunged her in a 16-toilet mansion. Probably that's the only rooms they've got in their toilet to fill up with all the crap that comes out of their gobs. Right, go.
Sits on RAVC now.
Clive Waterton, yeah.
Do you wish your father...
And another person as well, but yes.
Well, who did you...
Do you wish your father had...
who do you want to sit on RAVC? Who do you want? Somebody like me? Joe Bloggs, that doesn't know anything. Who do you want to sit on RAVC? Who would you think would sit on a bleeding bench of security team people, whatever it is you lot do up there, yeah? An organisation that assesses the threats around about the top echelons and elite people, i.e. the royals in our heavily classed system of UK, yeah? Who do you think would be on there? For Christ's sake, he's such a... well, I was going to say he's a brain donor, but he's so tight, I don't think he would have donated his brain.
Intervene,
no one would want
despite how that may have looked?
Come on, Mug.
I've never asked him to intervene. I've asked him to step out of the way and let the experts do their job. This RAVC committee is an expert committee full of professionals.
So, you've never asked your dad to intervene, you've asked him to stay out the way and let him do their job. So what you're insinuating is that he has somehow stopped RAVC giving you the answer you require. I think that's BS.
Plus the royal household. And the royal household don't have any role in that, on the RAVC committee, other than the helping influence the decisions based on members of the royal family.
Right.
And 5 years later, every single visit that I do back to the UK has to go through the royal household.
Of course it does.
My representative on the RAVC committee, still to this day, is the royal household. That is not a decision that I choose.
Oh, because he wants some presidential stuff. I mean, he should piss back off to America, really, and stay there when they do that sort of thing. I don't know what it is they do with motorcades. It's obviously, from what I'm reading between the lines here, RAVC is set up to assess threats to security, for security, around about the royals and the top echelons. I'm feeling like I'm repeating myself here, okay? But Muggins here, he doesn't agree with that. He thinks just because, well, he was born with the royal family and he's left the royal family and he's just Harry now and he's going over to California, and he's going to live a private life, a quiet life, and step back and all this, that and the other, and just do his Archie Well charity, which I must say in 5 years he's still managed to do, and drag the Marklet along, all completely safely, yeah? Oh yeah, that's all happened, but now, no, oh, he's got a chip on his shoulder. He wants a special law for him. He wants a special... Because they're sat there and they're assessing threats to the royal family. See? The royal family in the UK, mate. In the UK. And it's like I said yesterday. You give me one example, Barry. Just one. I'm only asking for one. One example where before you met the Marklet, you had a motorcade. Give me an example. You, personally, on your own, not with William, not with Catherine, not with your gran or your dad, not with your mum when she was younger. You, Barry Barrington, went anywhere in a motorcade. Just give me an example.
I am forced to go through the royal household and accept that they are putting my best interests forward during these conversations and the deliberations. So no, I haven't asked my father to intervene.
No, anyway.
The whole point of a risk management board, which, as I said, everybody else gets, but I haven't. Never been given.
Do you know why you haven't, Barry?
Back end of 2019.
Shall I tell you why you haven't? Shall I tell you why I haven't? Shall I tell you what you want to hear? Here we go. Shall I just tell you what you want to hear? Because you're a bald, ginger bleeding, whatever. I was going to say prick, but I don't want to be rude. Yeah? And you married a horrible harridan, right? Is that what you want to hear? Is that what you want to hear? So they've all got it in for me, they've all got it in for me. Oh, poor me. No, the reason you didn't get it, Barry, is listen to me, listen very carefully to your old Auntie Gert, because you left, okay? You live in another country. Now, it goes on in this interview, and it's already irritating me like shit, to be honest, right? It goes on in the interview when it transpires that what I said a few years ago when this all started is he wants to set the precedent. Precedent, yeah? So if he can have the precedent set through the courts of justice in Britain, then that means that when he goes to America or Colombia or France or anywhere else, he will be entitled to motorcades. And that's what it's all about. And the diplomatic luggage and being whisked through airports, which he already gets. You don't see him lining up at Gatwick. He already gets that. He already goes in a different entrance. He goes to another lounge. He gets put in first to a private jet. It's all different. Yeah, it's not the hoi polloi. He's not hanging out in cattle class. Yeah? He already gets all that. But he wants it more. And I already know, this is what I think and I believe, and I'm entitled to my opinion, that somebody, not very far from the Ginger Bazza here, yeah, has already fantasised, she's probably already written it down actually, and the route, the timescale, timeline, she's got it all planned, of a world tour. Once they'd have got this world tour, and every continent, every country, and every little tin pot bleeding whatever island she turns up in, she will be entitled to full motorcade. Paid for by us. Paid for by us. That's what it's all about, and that's where this is going.
Team was the last one that I was given. The whole point of that is to have a board and a risk assessment, a separate board from RAVC, that considers all of the facts and all the circumstances. It is a system and an assessment that is designed to be non-biased and to avoid interference.
I don't know what he's used non-biased interference. This is hooey. I don't know what he's on about. Nobody cares. I mean, as I say, it's not like he's been, I don't know, dropped off in the wilderness of the Antarctica without even so much as a sardine. He's not being floated on a raft down the Amazonian River to be left with a load of, I don't know, cannibals or something. You know, he's perfectly lived his life. I mean, the proof of the pudding, darling, is in the eating. For the past 5 years, you've circumnavigated the globe, dragging that harridan along with you. Okay? In fact, she's invaded. She's like the ants. They just invade everywhere. And she's like that. She got herself in everywhere. Everywhere that's nothing to do with her, she's had her snout in. Anything to do, she does, you're not allowed anything to do with. But you're a couple. You get me? I don't know what's going on with you two. You two do you two, but can you leave us out of it? And can you leave us poor British taxpayers out of it? When we're already, thanks to you and your horrible wife's politics, absolutely sinking with the amount of newcomers in our country that we can't afford to feed. Well, we can manage to feed them because we're so hung up about racism and all this, that and the other, that they get everything and the indigenous British population get nothing. So there you go.
I know throughout this legal process is the interference that was created came from the royal household. And the RAVC chair at the time, who I believe I can talk about because he's no longer there, Sir Richard Mottram.
So?
The first thing he did...
I hope he sues your ass.
Well, the first people that he went to go and see was the royal household at the palace.
So?
So whether it's the media or whether it's anybody else that claims that the royal household and my father and my family don't have any decision-making capabilities on RAVC, well then what's their role? They're not experts. What's their role on that? And so...
Can you shut up? Can we talk about the Baka, women of the Baka tribes? Can we talk about that in the Congo? Are we allowed to talk about that? Where you lot are turning it into your own personal playground and the indigenous population to get them out, to stop them hunting for sustenance, really. They don't live well. It's just, you know, what they can eat. They just want to live. Yeah? Get abused. I can't say the R word, but get abused like so many hundreds of thousands of girls get abused in our country, that nothing is done by muggy little knobs like you and the royal household, I have you know. I don't care if this is one petty point. You decided to leave. I don't care. None of us care. Okay? What about Centre Barley? What about Sophie Chanduka the other week? Have you said anything about that? And yet you're sat on my bloody laptop here talking the biggest load of old piffle I've ever heard in my life. I suggest you get back on your private plane and you piss off back to your horrible little harridan of a wife and get on with it. And I hope she's made you a sandwich with bleeding, I don't know, Shipham's paste and sprinkled bleeding petals over the top. And you have to say, oh, that's lovely, darling, thank you, and eat it without gagging while she looks at you with those horrible eyes of hers. Go on.
Emailed back in January of 2020 that an RMB would be necessary before taking my security away.
Yes.
After his visit to the palace,
right,
that RMB that was planned was abandoned in favour of alternative governance measures.
What's an R&B? What are you talking about? A load of old people. Don't go. This is what these people do. This has happened a lot, right? They've got some beef that's something that's so out of whack with 99.9% of the people that are likely to view it. And the small smidgen of people that he is playing to the gallery for are never going to watch this. They will watch it. Why would they watch it? Why would Charles sit down to eat his tea, right, and think, oh, I must watch the Barry Barrington interview with the BBC? Can't see it, can you? So can you save us from your own personal pity party when you're waxing yourself in public and jollying along and... I was going to say masturbating, but I don't want to because that would be rude. Right, let's go.
What the court decided today was that they were justified for 4 reasons to not have that review. And
yes.
A major part of that is because you're no longer a working royal.
Yeah, the major part is because you're no longer a working royal and there's children that are being murdered in this country. And I'm not only talking about the Southport thing. There's loads of that we don't even talk about. It's covered up. It's covered up. A little girl, I can't say because I'll get into trouble, yeah? There's all sorts of children, not only are being outraged on an industrial scale across our country, but are actually being murdered as well across our country, as well as young people, women, young girls, even women as old as me are being outraged, okay? Because, I can't say, but, you know, for the very fact we're female, yeah? And yet we've all got to sit here and listen to this bleeding prat. I've never heard anything. This, honestly, if you'd have told me 20 years ago this is what's going to happen in the future, I'd have thought you'd been on the happy powder. I would have done.
A change in your status. Do you not accept that from the court?
Well, my status hasn't changed. It can't change. I am who I am.
Yeah,
I am part of what I'm part of, and I can never escape that. My circumstances will always be the same.
Absolute BS. Absolute bullshit. Because if you put yourself in his position, his God-given right to life, okay, he could do... It's been done before. It's been done in many sort of different royal families or echelons across the globe, or say elite people across the globe, like oligarchs and children of oligarchs. Listen, or what do you call them? Oh, billionaires, you know what I mean? The robber barons. I was thinking more of the Rothschilds and people like that, yeah? Yeah. If you, I'm bored and wild and I can't escape now, I'm trapped, I'm like in bloody Broadmoor or something, I'm like Belmarsh, right? If he didn't want to be here, he could go and save elephants in Africa, couldn't he? No one would know anything about it. He could have gently disappeared, so nobody even, people wouldn't even talk about him, they wouldn't even think about him. If, say, 10, 15 years ago, it was announced that, he's going to do conservation work in Africa, and that was the end of it, and no one had heard of him, we'd have moved on, no one would have cared. No one would have cared. And by now, none of this would have happened. And while I'm on the subject, you chose to go in the army. You weren't forced to go in the army. Nobody forced you to go in the army. This is what gets on my tits about you lot and you veterans. Oh, I got PTSD. I put myself at risk. I went in the army, I did. I went out there and I was frightened, whatever I was doing out there with the boom booms and the bang bangs. Oh, I was poor me. Poor me. Everybody. Now, I'm exempt now. Everybody's going to, bend over and just call me Jackie for the rest of my life. Oh, really? Sad little me. You can't say anything to me or about me because I'm a veteran. I've got PTSD. I've got post-menstrual, whatever it is. What a load of nonsense. You chose to go in the army. And every veteran that ever comes up to you and gives you that bullshit, every last one of them, PTSD, you signed on, you chose to go. You knew what the risks were. And if you didn't know what the risks were, more fool you, okay? But returning to your female victims, of which there are many, even with this one, which I'm not going to talk about, they didn't ask for what happened to them to happen to them. None of the children that have been outraged across Britain asked for it to happen. They were just being little girls, minding their own business, and it happened to them. No woman or child asks or signs on to put themselves in a situation where they're going to be outraged as children by grown adults. None of them. So please save me your little pity bloody party, because I don't care. Like the Baka women, they are just trying to get a bit of food to feed their children and to scare them. The Rangers that you employ, your organisation that you were the president of, okay, I don't know whether you are, or did you bail out when you realised you were caught? Can't remember, don't care. But anyway, they didn't go there to get a little bit of food to feed their children, knowing they were going to be outraged. Thinking, that's the thing that's going to happen, It's just not on. Why should women have to go through that? And nobody talks about their CPD or their PTSD and their risks when they go out. And this could happen to you, that could happen to you when you go out, which is a very real risk nowadays, not only in Britain, across the world. We've all got to worry about Barry. Because Barry decided to go in the army. Barry was actually protected by a whole battalion of Gurkhas, Barry was. And Barry, then, not to be deterred, came home and wrote a book about what he did or didn't do whilst in the army serving, okay? And now Barry wants the British taxpayers to pay for him and his floppy gob that he decided to flop, and he decided to sign on to go in the army. Okay? He decided to do it. Nobody made him do it. He wanted to be a weekend warrior. He wanted to be a little plastic soldier. Right? And now the taxpayer's got to pay for it. And along with his reprehensible wife, which both of them advocate for the global New World Order and open borders, which leaves women right across the Western world, and actually even the countries that these people come from, are open to being, well, I think you can insert any word there, any adjective that I'm not going to say because I get myself in trouble.
But with a specific answer to the question, there are comparisons that exist.
Yeah, I can't think
again, I have to be careful what I say, but I think it would be quite shocking for the British public and the public at large to understand or know that, in fact many people do know this, that people who leave public office receive lifetime protection, regardless of whether there are threats or risks to them.
They receive lifetime protection. Yeah, they'd probably just do a risk assessment on them, and they've probably got an officer keeping an eye on their housemate, which is basically, you've got 3 times that amount. What you've already said, in fact you do further on, you want the whole shebang. You want the outriders, you want the streets blocked off, you want the motorcade, you want everything. Yeah? That is pretty much a given. So now you're trying to align it with people that leave public office always get police protection. So we're talking about ex-prime ministers. What they do is they assess the risk. Say if you got, say if Thatcher was alive, okay? So, and now she's been retired like 30 years, and there's a little rejuvenation of nastiness, say about the IRA, or with the miners or something like that. Then RAVC would assess the risk on her, and maybe they would up her security. And then if there was no risk, they would down her security. That's basically what goes on. It doesn't mean that for the rest of their life they're followed, maybe in America, but not in Britain. They're not followed by a whole motorcade and, oh my God, you're so precious, I've got to wrap you up in cotton wool, and you've got to have motorcade and outriders, and everybody's got to have guns, and, oh, we've got to all sit here in a powwow and imagine all sorts of threats. Go on, you crank.
So for me, with a whole list of risks and threats that were known about in 2020 and that have only increased over time, including the Al-Qaeda threat that was published and talked about recently.
The Al-Qaeda threat, that every veteran that served over there is under exactly the same threat. But unlike you, every veteran didn't write a bleeding book flapping their gums about it. Okay? You made your choices, Barry. You did it for the, I don't know, the pieces of gold, didn't you really, Judas?
Completely disregarded, thrown away, ignored.
Good.
Because for me, security was made conditional on having that official role. That role that everybody knows, that myself and my wife wished to carry on, but was stopped from being able to do that back in 2020.
Because we don't want that horrible harridan anywhere near us, okay? Right? Me, Gertie Rude has said that. I'm obviously talking for myself. Why would we want that awful woman around us? She's so pretentious, she's so fake. I don't know what is going on. I don't know what trailer park you found her in, love, but I wish you'd take her back there. Yeah? Talk about polishing a turd. I think not only did the royal family polish you as a turd, but you've polished her as a turd and tried to make her out to be something she's not. She's no better than she should be, and nor are you. You're a human being. If you cut yourself, you bleed blood. If you eat, you're going to shit, okay? You talk a load of bleeding crap all the time. Yeah? What makes you so much better than anybody else? And why should we spend billions of pounds on you? And while we're on it, all of the royal family, whoever these people are, Britain is absolutely crucified, right, by the class system. And because the media and elite and professional classes feed into the royal family, the aristocracy and all that type of thing, and it is their mantra about the global New World Order and open borders and isms and this, and we've got to raise everybody up, blah-de-blee-de-blah. Everybody apart from the working class indigenous Britons. We're scum. It's open season on us. You can say what you want about us, treat us how you want, deny us and beat us metaphorically. It doesn't matter. Because as soon as these people come in, they can get a bank thingy or whatever, they can start a business, start a shop. Don't help Brits to do that. Never bother helping Brits. We're always held down. Always told we're scroungers and we're thisers and we're thaters. When here, the royal family, yeah, let's have it right. okay? I know I'm not talking about William and Kate, but most of them are the biggest dole scroungers of the bleeding Britain. And this thing is one of them. And while we're at it, yeah, you get a load of money off, I want to look into this, he will get a load of money from the very fact that he holds the title of Duke of Duchess of Muchness of Sussex, okay? Why doesn't he spend that money on his damn security? Bleeding prat. I can't anymore. I mean, I'm always speechless.
What do you say to those who ask, why should the taxpayer pay for your police security if you have your own private security? Where are the gaps there? What's your response to those who say you're getting police protection on a case-by-case basis?
He's a Nepo kid, isn't he? He's a little trust fund, isn't he? Trust fund kiddie. Oh, please pay for my motorcade. Me and the horrible reprehensible Bartlett. Go on. Indeed.
I tell you what, why don't you ask that question again, but in 3 parts, if you could? Because you just put 3 very, very important questions together.
Sure.
And I cannot possibly answer all 3 of them at the same time.
Right.
Sure. What do you say to those who ask why the UK taxpayer should pay for police security? You have your own private security.
Well, first off, private security can only do so much.
Right.
Again, I can't go into the details of that, but I think most people will be able to work that out. One of the major things is they don't have jurisdiction in a foreign country.
Wouldn't it be nice if there was just one security guard on that door at that Taylor Swift dance class? Even like a Serco minimum wage security guard on that door that day. Do you get me? At Southport last August. Wouldn't that have been nice? Wouldn't that have saved some people? Because from what I could gather, there was a window cleaner or somebody walking by who saw something and he put himself at risk, and he actually did prevent quite a lot more of harm carrying on, if you know what I mean. He was really the hero of the moment, and I don't think he's received anything for it. But here we go. Stop! Got to listen to Barry. Very sad life he's got.
Any country, they don't have any jurisdiction. Police protection is effective protection, which is what my grandmother made very clear that we needed.
Affected? You're affected.
With regard to the taxpayer part of it, I don't need to go into detail of how much the royal family costs or how much protection costs or whatever. What I will say is that.
Let's skim over the nuts and bolts of it, Barry. Let's skim over little things like costs to the taxpayer. Let's just forget about that and let's all worry about the Marklet and the Bazzy Bazmeister. Let's do that, shall we? As I say, while we're sat here today, you left in January 2020. We're in May 2025. To date, the Marklet and you are thriving. Nothing has happened. Literally nothing. Okay? Absolutely fine. Despite jollying all over the world, despite living in a country with more guns than they've got bleeding I don't know what, yeah? And yet he's going on about, I want my security and I don't get the full security. I'm at risk. Idiot. He's just so vain. They all are. I'm sorry, darlings, I'm sorry. But I can't with these people. There's people that work 40 hours a week and they have to go and stand in the queue at the food bank. And we've got to listen to this old malt.
Yeah, some of the British tabloid press, did a very good job in campaigning to have our security removed. Listen,
we don't even break even. We don't even break even. Even if you pay all your bills, you still haven't got enough money to pay your bills. Okay? We don't break even. Let alone luxuries, let alone extras, just basics, food bank, lining up at the food bank. But no. I'm sure everybody is queuing up, worrying about his security.
Figures such as £20 million, right? And through this disclosure process, I've seen constituents in the UK write to their MP saying, "I don't want to, as a taxpayer, I don't want to pay for Meghan and Harry's security at this cost." They're literally quoting headlines from British newspapers.
So we're back to because the British public, like the individual people, like the me's and the you's, right? If you listen to Barry, we're so thick, okay, that we need the news or papers to tell us what to think. And once we've read the news or we've heard what the read the papers and heard the news, basically. I got that the wrong way round, Gert. Yeah. Then, because we're just cabbages, we then write a letter to whoever saying, look, I don't agree with that. Why should we? You know, we do that because we're thick as shit. And we need everybody to tell us what to think. Yeah. Well, that is how gormless you are.
Those figures are obviously grossly exaggerated by about 18, 19 times.
It's irritating like I've ever known.
And further to that, how, if you know that other people are being protected, people that have made a choice for public office,
right,
then why wouldn't you be comfortable, happy with someone in my position?
Because you made a choice not to be in public office. Next!
He was given 35 years service to his country.
Who?
2 tours of Afghanistan. And the threat...
I'm sorry? Do I have to go over it again, mate? I actually have a dog in the game with this, Gingerberry. Okay? I know what went on and how you got in the army because I had a son myself in a similar situation with a similar colour hair, similar height to you. So don't even go there with me, Barry. You chose to go in the army. You signed on the dotted line. You had a battalion of bleeding Gurkhas protecting you. We've been there. We've done it. We've bought the T-shirt. You chose to do that. Service for your country. I think you'll find that apart from the 2 tours of Afghanistan, one you left early because you said the papers bubbled you up, and it actually turned out you fell out with Chelsea Davy and asked for special dispensation to fly home so you could patch it up with Chelsea, was the actual story. Yeah, so let's just go over this a bit. I think you've took out of the taxpayer a hell of a lot more than you've ever put in, so don't give me service to the country. Okay? Oh, you did the... Well, the Warrior Games was actually invented by America, and a couple of the courtiers cobbled it together to give you some sort of... Probably to get you off your dad's back. Yeah, and you were the son of the king at the time, and to give you something to, I don't know, hang your hat on and be known for. Yeah? The marklet wasn't on the horizon. It was from the minute you took up with that bloody awful woman, and there you go. It's my opinion, and I'm entitled to my opinion. Yeah? The real colours of you have come out. And I'll repeat the quote that William, well, we're given to believe William said, when he was quoted as saying, I've spent my entire life putting my arms about my brother to protect him and I can't do it anymore, is what he said when you left to move to America. And ever since then he's turned his back. And that's what most people think. Most people, if they've had to put up with you behind the scenes and still polish the turd and present it to the public as a normal human being, are exhausted by you now, Barry. They're exhausted. And you're used to them picking things up behind you, making everything right. You do something wrong, they'll put it right for you, they'll cover it up, they'll do this, they'll do that. I know you say, oh, well, I dressed in a horrible German uniform. I won't say the word. I dressed up as a horrible German guy from the war. And, the papers were nasty about me, but you dressed up. No one made you dress up. I know you tried to say that they laughed at you because they saw you tried it on in the shop and they laughed. I'd have laughed because you're a prat, yeah? But it was still your fault. You put it on. They didn't make you put it on. You put it on. Just like you signed up for the army. No one made you do it. You did it. Just ridiculous. I'm just so over these men. Why is this happening? And why are there, while we're at it, yeah? Why are women being sidelined? Women and children are sidelined. We don't feature anywhere, okay? And I mean, I can't bring my children to this country, blah, blah, blah. You don't take your kids anywhere. Let's have it right. We never see them. Nobody ever sees them. You see the top of their head. You're so precious about these children. You can't help people wondering if they exist at all. Especially with the load of hooey you and your wife come out with. It might actually come to pass that they don't exist and never existed. And it wouldn't surprise me at all. Because you're so full of shit and smoke and mirrors that nothing you say is credible. Literally nothing. And your missus, less so.
Some risks to my life. I was born into this position. I was born into those risks, and they've only increased over time, along with my marriage to Meghan, and the frenzy across media, mainstream media and social media that created. So, and I guess on top of that as well, probably what people don't know.
The frenzy across mainstream media and social media. Well, anybody that marries into the royal family, there is a certain amount of frenzy. leading up to the wedding, after the wedding, and then basically when the kids come along, okay? But that's it, yeah? They usually find their places in the world of the royal family and just live their life, bring up their kids, do a bit of charity work, turn up high days and holidays, cut a couple of ribbons, do a bit of waving, and shut the flip up, which is what they're paid to do. Because if flapping their bleeding gums as much as you and your wife, yeah, I'm just glad that we're not paying for it. Because I wouldn't want to pay for that sanctimonious layhole that you married, or you, come to think of it. I mean, what do you bring to the table? Literally nothing. You've got all the power in the world, all the money in the world, yeah, and you're sat here moaning on about a load of old bloody hooey when there's women and children all across the world, the same women and children that you and your wife profess to care so much about, that are suffering in real time now. Children that have got fuck all to eat, okay? I saw a child, I think it was TikTok, in Gaza, where UNICEF's gone round there and they've given this child a bowl, just an average like food bowl like you'd have your soup in or something, yeah, of pasta. Pasta. Just pasta. Boiled pasta in water. Nothing on it, nothing in it, just pasta. And that kid's face lit up like Santa Claus had just given him a whole sack of fucking toys. I'm sorry if I'm getting emotional. That is sad. And that is fucking happening all over the world. And we're sat here having to worry about this bleeding brat. I'm sorry, I'm out. I can't do any more of this reaction video. He's really upset me, and he's such an annoying little piece of work. What about the Baka women? What about the children that live in the Congo? What about Sentabali children? What about Sophie Chanduka? What about all the thousands of women that are being abused, and the young girls and children across Britain? You don't give a flip about that. All you want is what you want, so you can self-aggrandise with your wife and probably get a blowy once a bleeding decade off her. Go away, you horrible little man. I'm done with you. Go away. And leave us to flip alone. All of you, leave us alone.